Podcast City Network.
This is Final Score, your number one podcast for sports news. Here are your hosts, Chris and Craig.
Hey guys, and welcome to another exciting episode of Final Score, episode 77. Man, we're getting up there, but at least my hair still looks nice though, right? Yeah? Look good on here? I didn't do hair and makeup this morning, so wife kind of ran out and was like, haha, on your own. Anyways, but it's a very exciting episode because we welcome back the true man, the true myth, the true legend of Final Score, Craig Campbell. How you doing, bud? It's so good to have you back.
Oh my God, I'm so excited to be back. Thank you so much. I've been gone so long, I broke the camera today. I've been gone so long, I broke the camera. That's why you don't see my face next to Chris here on the show. But I do promise you, I'm back. I'm so happy to be back. It's been a long hiatus. I've been keeping tabs on everybody, and but I had that itch, man. I had to get back. So I'm ready. Here we go.
Yeah, man, we're so happy to have you back, and we got so much to talk about, and honestly, you're the perfect person to talk about it with, because there is some crazy stuff happening in sports. But before we get to that, you have to make sure that you follow all things Final Score at PCN Final Score, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram. You guys know the deal. Jump on there, share, invite, like, comment, send us a message if you want. Let us know how we're doing. Leave us a rating. Anything you want, go on there. Check us out, PCN Final Score. We try to bring the very best that we can, and we can't do it without you guys, so let's throw that love and support.
The one thing we don't do is beg you for money for our budget. So the little thing you could do, honestly, if you do anything to help the show out, whether it's if you're good friends with the show or friends with us or barely acquaintances, and you're interested in sports or whatever, please give us a like or a share or a comment. It helps us out with the Facebook algorithm, of course, but it just helps us out in general. Like, it helps get the word out there. Maybe not something that you follow very closely, but it may be something somebody else is interested in. So we genuinely appreciate everyone that to this point has either liked, commented, or shared and supported the show. So thank you so much.
Yes, absolutely, because we definitely cannot do it without you guys. But something else that's great and awesome, and that's been kind of happening recently, is Podcast City Network started its own shop. Who would have thought that would have happened? Because whether it's a neck gaiter to protect you from COVID-19, a mug for your morning coffee, or a t-shirt just to look cool, we got you covered. Get the latest apparel and gear for your favorite podcast and Podcast City Network by visiting podcastcity.net/shop and checking out the lineup. And there's some great Final Score gear on there. I know I can't wait for that hat to come in. I know it's going to look so good right upon my dome.
Yeah, I can't wait. We're always kind of looking in and updating our merchandise shop. So check it out if you really want to support the show. We do get a cut of that, so we really appreciate it, and it helps expand the brand of a Podcast City Network. So go check it out, podcastcity.net/shop.
Yes, most definitely go check that out. But we got to get into the meat of everything because we got some NFL Week 6 action that we have to talk about. But before we can even get to the lineups, it's been a crazy week as it is, with lots of COVID issues, facilities shutting down, reopening, all kinds of positive tests, guys being put on COVID lists. It's been absolutely insane. But I did have a memo come through this morning stating that all NFL games are on for today and that the league records 0 positive COVID-19 cases in their latest round of testing, per Adam Schefter. So definitely a good sign that at least we're going to have this week's action. But Craig, how close are we to having everything literally spiral out of control?
You actually can't see it, but I have one of the largest tinfoil hats on at the moment. You can't see it, but you can't tell me that there's all these positive cases and then all of a sudden, oh, everything's clear, we're good to go, and everybody's clear. They were all false positives. That's all it was, false positives.
Yeah,
It's
sure.
much like the NFL to just brush it under the rug. And our good friend Kevin, he put it pretty bluntly. You're talking about all of these franchises are worth close to or more than $1 billion a piece.
Mhm.
There is no way they are going to stop this freight train from rolling and keep these games going. There's no way they're going to stop that. So I think the one major shuffle is probably the last major hiccup, unless we really see a swell of COVID-19 positive cases. But I think this is kind of the NFL's like, all right, we just got to keep rolling. We're just going to push through. And tough. If you lose some guys, you lose some guys. It's part of the deal.
Yeah, and that definitely could happen. They're taking that approach, kind of trying to push through. But the big thing is that if we end up seeing any kind of rampant breakout, because remember when we had Stephon Gilmore, who ended up testing positive the day after being face to face with Patrick Mahomes, our defending Super Bowl champion, pretty boy quarterback of doom, and it's just crazy to think that. You see all these like near misses that the NFL's been experiencing. Now, obviously, it hasn't been crazy like how Major League Baseball dealt with, where teams were just straight going down. Games had to be rescheduled, games even canceled in some cases, and the NFL hasn't gotten to that point yet. But I feel like they're in a bend, but haven't broken yet stance right now. But if they bend anymore, I could see this whole thing just blowing right up because they can only push weeks back so far to keep in line with everything else going on. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't feel sold on how this is going to turn out.
But here's the great thing about the NFL is that once the Super Bowl, you've got 2 weeks in between the championship games and the Super Bowl, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Roughly 2 weeks.
Definitely.
So that's an extra week, and they already said they're getting rid of the Pro Bowl. So you can scrap that. So that's an extra week they can put in. Mm-hmm. Plus, if they have to, they can push back the Super Bowl because what do you have next? The draft in April? I mean, really, I guess.
Well, and
March is
now that you mentioned
March is free agency, right?
That is true, but if you look at it too, with them, if they were able to push all that back, that does nothing but help college football too. Because don't forget, we have some leagues that aren't going to be running until spring, and not saying they're going to have that big of an impact in the draft and how everything works out.
Right.
But at the end of the day, you do see those small school guys pop up. So I don't know. It's going to be very interesting. It's a very delicate situation.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll see how the NFL decides to handle it moving forward. But as you mentioned, we do have a big slate of games. A lot of them are on schedule, which is quite the change from last week. So you just want to get right into breaking down some of the games here?
Oh, let's do it. Let's do it because, we got a good number of these. We're going to start it off with the Houston Texans at 1-4, traveling to Tennessee to take on the 4-0 and undefeated Titans at 1 o'clock on CBS. This one, I tell you what, Texans have been hurting real bad, honestly, with this brutal schedule they've had and now firing their head coach. So do the Texans have any chance in this? I don't know. I still think Titans win it because they have that big old boy named Derrick Henry in the backfield.
Yeah, what a train wreck the Houston Texans have been. I mean, when you talk about they were up, what was it, 20-plus points on the eventual Super Bowl champion Chiefs in the divisional round, and then they blow that lead and then start 0-4, and as soon as they fire Bill O'Brien, oh my God, they win a game. But I think really what you got to pay attention to here, Deshaun Watson's having such a solid season for having no offensive line and really struggling from an offensive play calling standpoint. But I'm taking the Titans here also. I mean, you got Ryan Tannehill's having a pretty solid year yet again in that scheme. 6 touchdowns, only 1 interception. Not throwing for a bunch of yards, but like you said, when you got a guy like the King, Derrick Henry in the backfield, doing pretty well. And my boy, Corey Davis, Western Michigan alum, leading the team in receiving yards at the moment. Yeah, I got to take the Titans here, especially at home. They're just too good, I think, to really kind of choke this game away. And you're in that division. It's an in-division game. It's crucial. The Titans are really trying to take a stranglehold on that division early, and I see them going to 5-0.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's gonna be interesting. I still feel so bad for the Texans. I feel they had so much more going. But in our next game, we have the 1-3-1 Cincinnati Bengals traveling to Indianapolis to take on the 3-2 Colts, who are trying to get back on track themselves. 1 o'clock game on Fox. What do you think about this one, Craig?
Man, what do you? How can you talk about this game and not want to check out Joe Burrow? I mean, having the season he had last year and having the record for most 300-yard games to open up a rookie career for the first 3 games of his career, he's off to a really hot start. So I actually think it's going to be a lot closer game than most will give it credit for. As of right now, it looks like the spread is 7.5 for the Colts, but I think it'll be a little bit closer than that because, I mean, the Bengals have been in a lot of games this year.
For
Bengals
sure.
have been in a lot of games. And Phillip Rivers, we know between this year and last year, he's been a turnover machine. Doesn't matter if he's in LA or Indy. So I'm looking at that matchup is how can the Cincinnati defense force some turnovers? You're looking at, I know Will Jackson's got 1 pick this year, but leading the team for the Bengals. But I think this will be a kind of a closer game. I'm really going to be paying attention to the rushing game here. Joe Mixon's got 315 yards. Jonathan Taylor off to a hot start as a rookie for the Colts, as everyone kind of imagined he would be. I think it'll be a close game, but I'm going to take the Colts.
Oh, yeah, definitely. You got to take the Colts in this one. I feel like that just Cincinnati, even with Joe Burrow and all the crazy things he's been able to do as a rookie, the Bengals are not a complete team. They still have issues at the running back position. They don't have the greatest of offensive lines, and the defense is suspect. So Joe Burrow doesn't have a whole lot around him. Not saying they don't have things to build off of, but at the end of the day, Indianapolis Colts have a lot more. Colts also at home. I think Colts are going to be able to roll in this one pretty easily. Next game, we have the Atlanta Falcons at 0-5. Who knew we would be saying that? At Minnesota Vikings, who also 1-4. Who knew we'd say that either? 1 o'clock game on Fox at US Bank Stadium. This is the battle of the hapless, it seems like. The Falcons 0-5, literally perfecting what they started in the Super Bowl with literally just giving away leads. And it's absolutely crazy to see what's happened. They have now fired their head coach, Dan Quinn, gotten rid of their GM as well, and have turned everything over to their interim head coach, the defensive coordinator there at Atlanta. It's mind-boggling to think what has happened to this team since coming this close to having the first Super Bowl title. I'm at a loss.
Well, that seems to have been a staple, unfortunately, for the Dan Quinn organization. There, they take big leads, or they have all this offensive firepower. The 1 year they actually had a solid defense, they still couldn't pull it off in the Super Bowl. So the defense has always been struggling. I am going to go on a limb here, and I'm going to take an upset on the road.
Ooh.
I'm going to take with the brand new defensive coordinator. They're going to want to show out. You're up against a team in Minnesota that, yes, they've been struggling. They still have a solid run game, but we're talking about Kirk Cousins here. He's not really having a solid year yet. He's got 6 touchdowns, but 6 picks. Justin Jefferson's been showing out for that team too. But I'm going to take the Atlanta Falcons to get their first win of the year on the road. It's going to be tough, but Matt Ryan's still having a hell of a year. He's still top 5 in passing yards in the league, believe it or not. But I'm going to take Atlanta in a close matchup here. I'm going to say they win by a field goal.
That is incorrect.
Because there's no way the Falcons are going to be able to top themselves and be able to pull a win out. No, they're going to get this close, and then it's just going to go right down the drain, because at the end of the day, the Falcons have perfected giving games away. I think the Minnesota Vikings defense will stand up in this game and stifle Matt Ryan, who got me 7.9 points in fantasy last week, you bum. And they will be able to roll and win this game and get their second win of the season. In our next game, though, we have the 1-3 Denver Broncos traveling to Foxborough to take on the Patriots at 2-2. Patriots are getting back Cam Newton, so this could be a very interesting game. Craig, what do you think?
I think this will be a pretty easy game, honestly. Unfortunately for Denver, they've had a bunch of injuries. When Jeff Driscoll's your leading passer on the team, that's not a good look.
It's not.
Jeff Driscoll already in a few short years has been a journeyman. Didn't play particularly well in Detroit when he was there, but on a bright spot, there's a way that the Broncos still have a chance. And you want to hear it? You want to hear why?
Let's hear it.
They released Blake Bortles this week. So they have a chance.
Yes.
They released Blake Bortles this week, so they have a chance to win. But I'm gonna take New England. I really like what Cam Newton's doing in this offense. I think they have 4 different players with over 100 rushing yards on the season, with Newton included in that group. They got to figure out a way to get the passing game going. He looked really good in the first week, and then, injuries or COVID and all this kind of stuff takes place. So I think having a pretty healthy team, I think is really going to do well for the Patriots. The one thing they have to pay attention to on defense, you got to know where Jerry Jeudy is at all times.
Absolutely.
Jerry Jeudy, rookie out of Alabama. He's been great for my fantasy team this week as a flex guy. So looking forward to a potentially big game there. But I'm going to take the Patriots, and it won't be comfortable, but it's not going to be a close game either.
No, definitely not. But the thing I look at with this is that Cam Newton definitely, I have to agree, has been have a nice little resurgence. I feel like a lot more motivation to be able to play hard, give his all, and be able to try and win games. And outside of a failed run right there in the end zone against Seattle, this he could be perfect with New England. So it's crazy to think how he leaves Carolina, gets with Bill Belichick, and now he's starting to become a little bit of a star. I'm telling you, he bounces that run out more to the left. That's a touchdown against Seattle. Anyways, looking at it, New England, I think, is going to be able to put up some points against Denver. Denver very hapless. Denver doesn't have very much going on. They might be tanking for Trevor at this point. Who knows? We're going to be getting those hashtags ready this year. And I think New England's going to take this by at least 2 touchdowns. 2 touchdowns.
Denver's not the team tanking for Trevor. They got Drew Lock. They like him. There is a team that is tanking for Trevor, though. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, and we saw how Arizona was so devoted to Josh Rosen. Just saying. But but as we look at our next game, we have the Washington football team, blandest name in sports, at 1-4, traveling to MetLife Stadium to take on the New York Giants, who are not so giant, at 0-5. Who do you got in this one?
Is there a way that we can just cancel this game, non-COVID related?
Yes, nobody wants to see this.
Nobody unless you're a Washington fan or a Giants fan, no one's going to watch this game. Nobody cares, unfortunately. Daniel Jones is struggling this year, but he's also their leading rusher. Think about this for a second. This is how bad this football team is when Daniel Jones has 5 picks and only 2 touchdowns this year, and he's leading the team with 137 rushing yards. Yes, I know injuries have taken their toll on this team, but this team is bad. This team is bad. And look at Washington. They gave Dwayne Haskins a chance, and there's already talks that they're going to try to trade him before the deadline.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know. Kyle Allen's starting. I think this game they've started like 3 or 4 different quarterbacks already. Alex Smith's played, which has been an awesome story, by the way. I wish I was here to talk about that with you guys when it happened.
Oh yeah, that was really cool.
But I think I'm going to take Washington. They still have a good pass rush. They still have Ron Rivera as their head coach. He's still Riverboat Ron. I think they'll do enough to win this game. Giants are going to fall to 0-6, and they still have a lot of holes to fill on this football team.
I got a perfect sound to just reflect my thoughts on this game. Because really, there is no point in having it. This is literally the battle of the toilet. So it doesn't matter who wins this game.
So if this was a bowl game, would you call it the toilet bowl?
Oh, dude. Yeah, you'd have to, honestly. This is horrible. I don't even know how we ended up with this.
Where's that flushing sound now?
Oh, sorry. Hold on. George wanted me to make sure I said Washington Football Club because they are not a team. So
that's a solid point, George. That's a solid point.
Very solid point. But at the end of the day, the Giants, it doesn't matter who wins this game. We know that the Eagles or the Cowboys are going to end up backing themselves into this NFC East title. So you know what? I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to give it to the Giants to get their first win so we can continue the disparity of hapless teams that only have one win.
On the bright side, the NFC East is so damn bad that Washington with a win at 2-4 might have a chance to be tied for first. How bad is this division? How bad is this division?
I'll let you know as we talk about our next game, which is the 4-1 Baltimore Ravens traveling to my hapless 1-3-1 Philadelphia Eagles, who, if they win this game and Dallas loses, become the NFC East leaders. So just saying, 1 p.m. CBS Lincoln Financial Field. The Eagles, though, I just found out this morning, will not have Deshaun Jackson back, but they likely will have him back next week for their Week 7 matchup against the New York Giants. So no Deshaun Jackson. As far as I know, still no Alshon Jeffrey. Offensive line issues across the board with injuries. Carson Wentz looking like hot garbage against a very formidable Lamar Jackson-led, Mark Ingram touting hype man Baltimore Ravens. I'm sorry, my Eagles don't have a chance. Ravens win this one by at least 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, I say this out of a deep love and appreciation for you. Can we please stop acting every year like the Eagles are playoff and Super Bowl contenders? How many years in a row has it been, quote unquote, offensive line issues? That's 3 years in a row they've had offensive line issues.
Well, hey, when you have guys going down with injury.
I mean, okay, then if you've got guys that are injury prone, why are you bringing them onto your team? Like that's one thing. But okay,
they block
Carson
good,
Wentz,
Bobby. They block good.
Carson Wentz is a whole other subject. I could talk about this for 20 minutes, but I'm not going to. But I mean, I feel bad for him. He's supremely talented, but he's got no weapons. He's got no offensive line. Miles Sanders has been okay at best. They have nothing right now. I'm going to go out on a limb, and I think if the Eagles fall any further into this hole, they have to think about a change at the coach. They have to think about Doug Peterson making a change here, because look, outside of that Super Bowl, which Nick Foles saved your asses.
Not denying that one.
Outside of that Super Bowl, what's he done? Not a whole lot. Yes, he's won a Super Bowl. It's the first in franchise history. He's going to have a statue one day. I understand that. I get it. But you got to think about every year is different. You can't hang your hat on that one thing.
Yep.
That's like saying that for the Lions, Wayne Fontes is one of the greatest NFL Lions coaches of all time. Yeah, he also had a drinking problem and he barely made 500 every year. Like that's not saying much.
No, it's really not.
But so at the end of the day, the spread here is 10 in favor -10 for Baltimore. I think Baltimore wins by more than that. Unfortunately, I think Carson Wentz has a few turnovers. This game gets out of hand early, and I think Baltimore takes it by like 17 points.
Hey, let's not forget the last time that the Ravens started a Super Bowl run. They ended up losing to a 4-12 Eagles team very early on in the season. Right. So who knows what could happen? You never know. Of course, it wasn't. It definitely was not Carson Wentz that day that led that team. So, is what it is. But at the end of the day, I need to answer George's question. No, I did not try out for receiver. They could not pay me enough to be able to go out there and get killed like Greg Ward Jr. and their new receiver Fulgham. So yeah, no, I'm okay. They bump up the money, Doug Peterson. Maybe we'll talk. So
if they could give me league minimum, guaranteed for the year with all hospital bills paid, and sign me up, because I know I'm going to the hospital. And just pay my hospital bills. Give me 1 year guaranteed, because I'm going to be on there for like 2 plays. I'll be off the field. Done. We're good. I'll do it.
I mean, it's more than what I got offered. I got offered 2 hot dogs and a handshake, like this is pro wrestling or something. So man, I don't know. But Eagles definitely don't have a shot. But it's been that kind of year. But in our next game, we have the, funny enough, 4-1 Cleveland Browns. 4-1. Look at Cleveland go at the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are still undefeated at 4-0. 1 p.m. on CBS at Heinz Field. This one actually could be a battle, and let's not forget that there is definitely no love lost between these two. Now that Myles Garrett's back on the field, and just keep a helmet out of his hand. So I don't know. This is gonna be a lot of bad blood. I can see this game being very, very chippy. But honestly, this could come down to whoever has the ball last. But I'm gonna say the Browns are gonna pull the upset on the road, and they're gonna win this one by a field goal as time expires.
This is first of all, Cleveland Browns. Bravo to you for finally figuring out someone that can. Well, for finally figuring out a coach that can actually make this team set on the right path. We got all this hype the last couple of years about all the talent they have, and they couldn't put it together. Now finally you get a guy in Kevin Stefanski that's putting it together. Baker Mayfield looks a lot better than he has in a long time. Their only loss this year was a absolute drubbing early in the season to the Ravens, but they've had some close games. The matchup I want to look at here is that the Browns have the top rushing offense in the NFL, and the Steelers have the top rush defense in the NFL, and the second overall defense. The Cleveland passing attack is dead last in the league, and I'm going to take Pittsburgh, especially being at home. Pittsburgh kind of has Cleveland's number at home, so I'm going to take Cleveland. Probably drops it late, but I'm going to take the Steelers to win in a close game at Heinz Field to go to 5-0 in this early season.
And remember, the Steelers have started a season 5-0, I believe, since the 1970s. And when they did, they won the Super Bowl that year. So definitely something to keep in mind, because that could be a very big thing to keep an eye on when it comes to the Steelers, especially now that they've reloaded themselves at wide receiver based by, oh gosh, where did he go to school? Oh, that Notre Dame grad, Chase Claypool. So,
Who?
No big deal. No big deal, guys. No big deal. But looking at our next game, we have the 4-1 Chicago Bears. Oh my gosh, the Chicago Bears are 4-1. Who would have thought that? At the 3-2 Carolina Panthers, 1 p.m. on Fox at Bank of America Stadium. I mean, at least the Bears are being led by Nick Foles, who probably should have had the starting job to begin with, but he still hasn't looked stellar. They honestly got lucky beating the Tampa Bay can't count to 4 Buccaneers, and now you're going up against the Carolina Panthers, another NFC South team who's kind of just trying to find itself with Teddy Bridgewater. This one really could go either way. What do you think, Craig?
The Bears have to be the worst 4-1 team I've ever seen in the NFL. Let's be honest with this. I mean, you've got a team on offense. They're 27th overall. They're 22nd in passing, 27th in rushing. They're absolutely atrocious on offense. Their wins have come against the hapless Lions, the winless Giants, the winless Falcons. They lost against the Colts, and then, as you mentioned, against the Bucs, that when they forgot how to count to 4. So I'm actually going to take Carolina here to win at home on the fact that yes, the Bears defense is top 10 overall in the NFL, but don't forget, for as under the radar as the Carolina Panthers have been, Matt Rule has that offense rolling. They're 12th overall in the NFL in offense, 6th in passing, and 14th in rushing. And that defense is also top 10, 5th against the pass. I think Nick Foles and that offense turns the ball over numerous times. Carolina takes this pretty close, but I think Carolina takes it at home.
Ooh, man, all that trust in Carolina. Look at you. I honestly have to think.
It's more of lack of trust in the Bears offense.
And you know what's funny is that I have to agree, because the Bears offense is honestly pretty trash. David Montgomery, look, they have like no rushing attack. Look at what they've been doing. David Montgomery, I think, had under 30 yards and only saved me in fantasy because he had a touchdown. And it's crazy to see the Bears keep backing themselves into wins against teams that really should have taken the game to begin with, because they can't count to 4. But you look at it.
It's on the back of a good defense, though. Give credit where it's due. Chicago still has a top 10 defense.
Yeah, who hasn't been doing all that great in the past couple of games for me in fantasy, because they've had a lot of injuries. Khalil Mack's been in and out of the lineup, including other defensive starters. So now they are back at full strength as far as I know right now. So maybe that changes going forward, but it's still not going to be enough when you have an offense that is doing what it's doing. It's literally like a sputtering car that, we got the 15 miles an hour. Oh, no, it just died. Never mind. Sorry, guys. Sorry. False alarm. And that's all you get out of them. So against Carolina's still trying to find itself. Still a young team now at this point. But still, Teddy Bridgewater is a great athlete. I think we'll be able to pull this one away. I'm going to call Carolina Panthers by a field goal as time expires. So definitely going to be an interesting game. In our next one, though, we have, again, your hapless Detroit Lions at 1-3, traveling down to Jacksonville to take on the 1-4 Jaguars, who aren't doing much better. 1 p.m. on Fox. Man, your Lions hurting, man. I had to drop Kerryon Johnson. Like, he wasn't doing anything. So
well, I mean, they're log jammed at running back, and they picked up Adrian Peterson. You know what he's gonna do. So he's been literally stealing carries because of how dependable he is. So I can't get mad at it. DeAndre Swift, man, he's talented, but God, he's still a rookie, struggling. But this is one of those games we're looking at. I got my preview here. Detroit's favored by 3 on the road, and the over-unders at 53.5. So this is the type of game you're like, oh, these are two bad teams. They're not really all that great. This is where all the fireworks are going to happen, okay? I'm actually really disappointed that I can't make it up to Jacksonville for this. Every time the Lions play in the state of Florida, I'm always there, and I can't do it this year, unfortunately, and I'm really, really upset about it. But the matchup I want to look at here is Jacksonville's passing offense against Detroit's passing defense. I mean, you got the Jags are 9th in the league in passing offense behind Gardner, the mustache, Minshew. That's one of my boys, man. And then on defense, the Lions' pass defense is surprisingly 11th in the NFL, even though their rush defense is atrocious. I think this is going to be a shootout, but I'm going to take the Jaguars at home to win, because as bad as both of these teams have been playing, they both kept it close. The Lions have actually kept it close. They've had a lead in almost every single game and have squandered that lead. So I think they're going to get off to a fast start again and then squander the lead. Jaguars been keeping it close, but yeah, it's their one win. They will hang their hat on the fact that they beat the Colts in week 1. That's a big win for the Jags. But I think the Jags take it in a close one, but I think it's going to be a shootout.
Yeah, I have to disagree with you. I think it'll definitely be a shootout, but I think it'll be the Lions coming out on top. No faith in your team, sir. And it's absolutely crazy. But the Lions, the Lions are favored by 3. I think the Lions have the potential to actually win this, because the one thing that's different is that Jacksonville is just as hapless and crappy and able to give away games at the last minute. So the Lions, I think, are going to be able to capitalize and be able to take advantage of matchups and be able to win this game. So it's okay. I'll have the confidence for you. It's all right. All right, but in our 405 game, we have the New York Jets at 0-5, who somehow still have their head coach, at the Miami Dolphins, who are 2-3. 405 on CBS. This game, man, I mean, it's cool to see the Dolphins actually get favored by 8.5 in a game, but you know, it's against the Jets, so. You know, the Jets honestly should have already fired their head coach and possibly their GM at this point. They went ahead and have cut Le'Veon Bell, which we'll talk about a little bit later here on the show. But the Jets have no shot in this. Sam Darnold is running for his life. He's already been banged up and messed up his shoulder. It's been a bad year already for the Jets. But the Dolphins are finding a little bit of a resurgence with Fitzmagic starting at quarterback. No Tua yet, but hey, Fitz is getting it done, 2-3, and they've been hanging in some games. So Miami actually looking like a team. I think they definitely can take this one, and I honestly think they'll cover the 8.5.
Yeah, that's something we haven't talked about. Even again, we talked about the Lions and then the Jets, 2 teams that should have fired both their coaches and GMs early in the season already. I think all those guys will be out of their jobs by the end of the year, or at least the end of it. But I'm with you here. So surprising here. We kind of saw it with Brian Flores in the Miami Dolphins. They're putting things together finally. They're kind of getting that on track. You know, it's a long road to be able to turn around a franchise that's been down for so long. But yeah, I'm glad they have not panicked, stayed with Fitzmagic, let Tua still develop, let him learn the NFL systems, let him do his thing. And you're winning games, so you have no reason to turn to Tua unless you're really struggling. This is another game. I'm with you. The spread's 8.5. I'm surprised, but I think this will be a fairly close game. But I'm going to take Miami. The Jets' offense is just so atrocious. Their defense
really
is the only thing keeping them. Their defense is the only thing keeping them in games, which isn't saying much.
Yeah, even Frank Gore isn't saving them at this point.
Yeah, the ageless Frank Gore. But I'm going to take the Dolphins. I just think for as bad as that offense is for the Jets, I think the defense comes up a little big for the Dolphins and helps them keep it a safe distance.
Oh, most definitely. So in our 425 game, which I think could honestly be one of the better matchups, depending upon how it turns out, will be the undefeated Green Bay Packers at 4-0, traveling down to the 3-2 Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 425 on Fox. This one's going to be interesting. We'll see if Brady has been able to learn how to count to 4. That's a big, big step for Brady. So we'll definitely see what happens. You know, you move to Florida, everything goes out the window. But Aaron Rodgers has been looking great with not a whole too much in the cupboard, honestly, and a little bit of a resurgent running game. The defense, though, still letting up a lot of rushing yards. But Green Bay is still 4-0 and leading the NFC North. So definitely something to keep in mind that, you know, with how the rest of the NFC North is, Green Bay is probably going to end up backing themselves into an NFC North title and a playoff berth. So, definitely see how it works out. But I think Green Bay in this game is going to be able to take advantage of the Tampa Bay defense that even against the Bears did not look the best. And Aaron Rodgers is going to throw it up and down the field. I'm going to say he's going to throw for 300 plus, and they're going to be able to take this game, I think, by a decent little margin. I think what's the line in this? Green Bay by 1? Oh, yeah, they cover.
Yeah. Green Bay by 1. I tend to agree with you here. Think about this. We are one mistimed play away from this probably being the game of the week, 4-0 versus 4-1. So the one matchup I do want to look at, and that's what you touched on, was the passing attack for the Green Bay Packers against Tampa Bay's defense. To their credit, Tampa Bay has some great pass rushers. They're great against the run. They're number 4 in overall defense. They're number 2 against the run, but that passing attack is 17. It's pedestrian at best. The Green Bay offense, 2nd overall, 5th in passing, 4th in rushing. So I think that's where you're going to see some matchups. I think Aaron Rodgers can take advantage of that weakness in the passing attack. I think Green Bay will cover. I think it'll be a close game, but I think Green Bay wins by about 7.
Oh, yeah, I definitely can see that happening. In our Sunday night game, though, we have the LA Rams at 4-1, traveling down to San Francisco to take on the 2-3 49ers, 8:20 on NBC at Levi Stadium. The Rams are favored by 2.5, and the 49ers have been collapsing on themselves, even to the point where they benched Garoppolo near the end of last week's game before eventually losing. The Rams, though, wasn't a lot of expectations, I felt like, going into the season, but have looked pretty good now, amassing a 4-1 record, not against the best competition, but still getting wins nonetheless. In the Rams, man, I think the Rams could take this one pretty easily. The line, 2.5, yeah, I think the Rams take this and cover.
Again, I'm going to have to agree with you. I don't think it'll be an easy game. I think it'll be close. I think it's going to be like a 6-point game type thing.
Absolutely.
But I mean, yeah, you're talking about the inaptitude of Jimmy Garoppolo, like the myth of New England quarterbacks leaving New England. It just continues with Jimmy Garoppolo not playing well. But to San Francisco's credit, to Shanahan's credit, even with all that rotating door at quarterback, San Francisco's pass offense is still 7th in the NFL. It's still top 10. Still is. Something to think about. That I want the matchup I'm looking at is LA's offense versus San Francisco's defense. That defense is still very stout, 3rd overall in the NFL, 2nd against the pass. But that LA rushing offense is top 10. It's number 7 in the league. And San Francisco struggled stopping the run this year, allowing 110 rushing yards per game. So that's going to be the matchup I'm going to look at. Yeah, LA had a down year, but remember the year before they were hot. They were on fire, one of the hottest teams in the league. So they're just, I think they're making that comeback. I think they take the win on the road. It'll be a close game, but LA goes to 5-1.
Absolutely agree. Monday Night Football, though, we have 2 games, a nice little doubleheader, a 5 o'clock and an 8:15 game. Our first game will be the Kansas City Chiefs at 4-1, traveling out to Buffalo to take on the 4-1 Bills on Fox. This one could be actually a pretty good game. I don't feel like the Bills have enough to be able to match up with our defending Super Bowl champions in talent, but the Bills are a scrappy team, and they have a pretty decent little defense over there, and now an offense that's at least starting to hum now that they have really Stephon Diggs. Let's be honest, it's because of Stephon Diggs. But the Buffalo Bills, I think, are still going to try and hang in this one, but I don't think that they are going to have enough. Kansas City is able to come in, even against teams that they should beat by a lot. They still squeak out wins. We saw what they did against the Chargers earlier this year, where they went down to a field goal. They probably should have lost that game, but they still find ways to win. And that's the thing that the Chiefs are able to do, even though, they didn't take one from, Oakland. But hey, it's in division. It's rivalry. What do you want? Kansas City, though, I think is going to be able to squeak this one out behind the magic of Mahomes. And the Buffalo Bills are going to fall to 4-2.
This is a tough game to pick, to be honest with you. I believe this is a reschedule for COVID, wasn't it?
Yes.
Was it
yes.
not? This is a reschedule for COVID. One thing that worries me about the Chiefs, and you touched on it, they lost to the Raiders at home. The Raiders have been a surprise. That's a different story. But they lost to the Raiders at home, and I think really the whole reason they lost was the fact that David Carr does not do well in KC when there's fans. We'll put it that way. I think the fact that there was no fans really helped, or limited fans. But losing to the Raiders doesn't help. The game against the Patriots, even though it was a 26-10 spread, there was the Patriots got screwed out of a turnover call early in the game that actually would have gave them the lead before halftime. So that game was a lot closer than it showed. You talked about the Chargers, the Texans. They have not dominated like we would expect them to. And Buffalo, outside of getting their butts handed to them at Tennessee, close wins against the Raiders, but they won. They beat the Rams, who are 4-1. They beat the Dolphins, who are a lot better than we come to expect. So I think it's going to be a really close game. I think KC takes it very, very tight game. Would you say what the spread was in this? It's
right. The spread on this game is where is it? Oh, I just lost
5.
it. It's 5. Yeah.
Yeah, Kansas City by 5.
Well, 4.5 now.
I think Kansas City wins, but Buffalo covers. I think it's going to be a really tight game, especially in Buffalo, and it's already probably snowing at this point in Buffalo. So good luck with that. But yeah, I mean, you're looking at that offense. Josh Allen, for as much crap as he's been given, he's 12 touchdowns, 1 pick. Stephon Diggs has really been a huge help. I'm going to take Chiefs in a close one.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree. So we'll definitely see how that works out. But in our later Monday Night Football game, we have the Arizona Cardinals at 3-2 traveling down to Jerry World to take on the Dallas Cowboys at 2 and 3, 8:15 on ESPN. And Arizona is favored by 1. Dallas, I feel like, is Atlanta 2.0, except with a couple wins where they haven't quite mastered as bad as the Falcons. How to give away games, but now they do not have Dak Prescott, that gruesome injury. And, I've said a lot of things about Dak Prescott. I am not a fan of Dak Prescott, but at the end of the day, gruesome injury, and we definitely wish you a speedy recovery, because I don't wish that on anybody with a compound fracture and dislocated ankle. That's painful. Yeah,
that's tough. Neither one of us are Cowboys fans, but you hate to see that from a guy like him, especially in a contract year.
Yeah.
He's trying to get some stuff. That's tough for someone's livelihood. So we wish the speedy recovery, best of luck, all health, and good vibes going your way, Dak Prescott. So, but yeah, in this game, you were talking about how the Dallas Cowboys gave away games. These are the 3 losses they have this year. Lost to the Rams, who are 4-1. They beat the Falcons. Yeah, that's the Falcons' fault, but they're still 0-5. They beat the winless Giants, but their losses were 4-1 Browns, undefeated Seahawks, 4-1 Rams. That's tough. That's a tough schedule.
Yeah, but look how close they were to winning those games, though, especially against the Rams. They literally gave that game away, and that's the one thing I see with Dallas.
Because Dak Prescott's kept them competitive now that he's out. All props to Andy Dalton. But
yes,
if anyone would please do me a favor, blast this out on everything with Cowboys related. Get it to Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones, whoever. Hey, guys, Dallas, if you're listening, we have a quarterback that would be great for you. He's from Texas, and I think it'd be a great homecoming, and we want to get his contract up so we can tank for Trevor and get rid of our regime. Matt Stafford's available, everybody. Matt Stafford is available. Dallas, I hope you're listening. Matt Stafford's available. I will say it again. Matt Stafford is available. We want him to win. But I think overall, you mentioned that Arizona's favored in this game. I'm going to take Arizona to win on the road. It'll be tough, but I'm going to take Arizona.
Yeah, and you also got to look at what Arizona has been able to do this year, because it's been kind of crazy. They've been kind of having an up and down year, but the biggest thing that they were able to acquire in the offseason, Oh yeah, that one guy, DeAndre Hopkins, and last I checked, he's absolutely killing it as the top receiving receiver with the most yards, 528 yards already on the season, killing it right now with Kyler Murray. So just shows you go get a nice shiny pony, you can make things happen. Ask the Buffalo Bills. So D-Hop, huge resurgence there, and you still got Larry Fitz playing on the other side. They've been able to find some type of actual offense that wasn't just Kyler Murray running around for his life and trying to dump it off to an aged running back. But it's crazy just to see what they've been able to do. But again, Dallas, you look at the Dallas side, Dallas with Andy Dalton, sorry. He's not going to have any chance, I feel, to be able to make this team good. You beat the Giants, bro. And sorry, you're kind of already had a team around you that was playing well and had some camaraderie. Now you're just stepping in as a fill-in for Dak. And let's be honest, that's all he is right now. And
well, there's, they still have a lot of weapons on that team. You got Gallup, you got Cooper, you got Zeke.
But you go from Dak to Andy.
In the game.
You know what I mean?
think that'll keep him in the game. I think it'll keep him in it. It'll be close.
But look what he was able to do with A.J. Green, Taj Boyd, and Joe Mixon. Nothing. And that's the thing. You got Ezekiel Elliott, Amari Cooper, C.D. Lamb, Michael Gallup, and I still think Andy Dalton's going to be the guy. He's not going to be able to make his reads, and it's going to get to the point where he's going to only have like 8 to 10 attempts a game, and they're just going to keep feeding Ezekiel Elliott. I mean, he didn't get the tattoo for nothing on his gut that says "feed me." So,
did you just hear yourself compare the weapons in Cincinnati to the weapons in Dallas?
Hey, A.J. Green was a leading receiver in the league at one point. Let's keep that in mind.
Who's been hurt? Who was hurt the last couple of years? Dalton was there. But look at, Boyd versus Gallup or Cooper.
Gallup is a trash receiver. I'm sorry. People want to try and say Michael Gallup's a good receiver. I do not think he's a good receiver. Go look at his numbers. They speak for themselves. But Amari Cooper and C.D. Lamb are both amazing.
Receiver in Philly.
I mean, yeah, because everybody's injured. I mean, when our best receiver is Greg Ward Jr., what do? We had a guy named Fulgham. Who's Fulgham? Nobody knows.
Just remember when Dalton had good weapons in Cincinnati, they actually didn't do too bad. Also, that was like 5 to 7 years ago.
Yeah.
When he was, much younger and more nimble,
but had a better arm.
Right, and a better arm. I think it'll be close enough. I think the weapons in Dallas keep them in it. But it'll be a close game because we know for as talented as Arizona is, they still struggle at times. For as good as having D-Hop and some of those guys in their offense, their passing attack is still only 26 in the league. It's not good.
Just saying. But at the end of the day, I do think Arizona takes this. Dallas not going to have a chance, and while it may be able to keep them in games, it's not going to be enough. And then the Cowboys will drop to 2-4. Eagles will win somehow against the Ravens because they all come down with COVID or something. And NFC East leaders again. No, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself, man. A lot of NFL action, but definitely make sure to follow us at PCN Final Score. That way you can check out for episode 78 next week when we definitely give you the update of everything that happened. And, of course, we'll review next week's Giants-Eagles Thursday night game and then give you the preview of Week 7. So definitely a lot of stuff going on. Definitely make sure to check it out. But, man, we got to start paying the bills. What's that great thing about the Jacksonville Saints we got?
Yeah, so we want to give a quick shout-out to the Jacksonville Saints Australian Football Club, who's one of our sponsors of Final Score. Make sure to go check out the Saints on Facebook, facebook.com/JaxSaintsUSAFL. That's JAXSAINTSUSAFL for the latest news, practice times, game info. And don't forget to hit that like and follow button while you're there. You can also contact them directly by emailing the team at jacksonvillesaintsUSAFL@gmail.com for more information. Lots of good stuff coming out of Jacksonville with the football clubs and stuff there. And our guy, Kevin Wathan, who's roaming the sidelines as a coach, we've noticed. So shout out to those guys. Thank you so much for your support. And go check them out.
Most definitely. Now we're going to switch gears on over to the NBA Finals that we didn't really get to talk about much because this actually wrapped up a little bit ago, but, we only do one episode a week. We're busy guys. We're so sorry. But
right now, we're at one episode a week, so we can only cover so much.
We can only do so much, but, These beautiful mugs. Anyways, the Lakers, though, ended up defeating the Heat 106-93 in Game 6 to win their 17th NBA championship. Absolutely amazing to see what the Lakers were able to pull off, even though so many people thought that this was a duh when they signed LeBron James and then were able to later get Anthony Davis. So, I mean, did you expect him to win this quickly, or did you think it was going to take a little longer?
With having that team, the first year of them being look at what they did in Miami when LeBron went there. They made the finals, but it's a transition when you're getting all those new pieces put in place. They purged their bench after the year one and got other guys that would come in and help be more support players for LeBron. So in year two, I'm not surprised that they won, but it's kind of everyone's just kind of like, okay, meh, it was the bubble year. Like, no one's really going to think of too much about this. So I am a little surprised, though, that after dominating the first two games, the Lakers dropped, game 3 and 5. Like, I thought for sure they were going to, take maybe a 4-1, or I didn't think it'd be a sweep because that's not how the NBA operates.
No.
Game 3 was crazy. All the conspiracy theories that came out after Game 3.
Oh my gosh.
Where the Lakers had more fouls than they had in the previous 2 games combined. Like, people, I got a buddy of mine who's a big LeBron fan, not from Ohio, go figure, but a friend of mine who's a big LeBron fan, and he's posting about, the NBA's rigged. And I was like, dude, it took you this long to figure that out? Like, why do you think LeBron's been in so many finals? Like the NBA wants their stars to be in the finals. It's the way the NBA operates now. They want the box office in the finals. They don't give a damn about the best teams being in there, even though I think the Lakers are one of the best teams out there. But they want the box office as much as they can. So you look at that, and I'm not surprised. I mean, NBA's been rigged for 15, 20 years already, so it is what it is. Congrats to the Lakers, though. I do want to say that we have to make a note of this. Jeannie Buss, who is the first woman majority owner to win an NBA championship, that is a fantastic achievement. Props to her, because the last time they won the NBA championship, the Lakers, she was just a minority owner or partner of the team. So congratulations to her. As much as everyone's given her flack for handling the Magic Johnson situation and everything, I think that really helped.
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
Taking Magic out of the equation, even though Rob Pelinka is kind of a snake, everyone knows it. Let him take over, let him do his thing, and here's what happens. I mean, now it's just going to be wondering how many more years can they do this. I think Anthony Davis is a free agent after this year, if I'm not mistaken. Either this year or next year. So they got to talk about that. LeBron's window is not going to be open for a whole lot longer, even though he's still putting up monster numbers in his late 30s. Something we've never seen before.
Yeah, definitely crazy. But the big thing that they saw is that, there was a player option for Anthony Davis for this upcoming season, which has been reported as earlier, I think it was earlier this week, that he is going to negotiate a new deal with the Lakers and just sign a new contract to try and stay, because, and it makes sense. You win a title, you want to try and keep winning more. And the Lakers right now have a recipe to be able to do that. And I know that LeBron's going to try and squeeze in as many as he can, because, why wouldn't you? And, the GOAT debate will carry on, all that kind of stuff. But the big thing I look at is that Jeannie Buss looks... That's
an argument we don't need to talk about. That's
a whole nother thing. Yeah, that'll take forever, and we'll end up having a 4-hour special about it. But for Jeannie Buss, she looks brilliant with after coming out of all of the Magic Johnson issues, when the Lakers were completely down and out, and then we lost Kobe, all kinds of stuff happening with that franchise. To be able to culminate it all back into this season, even in a bubble, and be able to go out and win another title, their first in 10 years. Absolutely wonderful to see what they've been able to do in just 2 years. That's great. But it's just keeping longevity. That's going to be the thing. So.
Yeah, and Anthony Davis, a lot of guys like that of his upper echelon, they're going to decline the player option because they want to make as much money as they possibly can. I can't fault him for that. He's still only 26 years old, mind you.
Mm-hmm.
He's still this is the part of his prime right now. So the Lakers are going to do everything they can to try to sign him long term. I think it's definitely well overdue for him, but we'll see what they decide to do. I wouldn't be surprised if Anthony Davis at least entertains other offers. Because I mean, why wouldn't you if you're in your prime and you just come off a championship and putting up the type of numbers that he did throughout the playoffs? Why not?
Absolutely. So we'll definitely see how it all works out. I think they're going to be able to obviously get the deal done pretty quickly. And there's a lot of, I don't know, there's a lot of conjecture right now on what will actually happen with next season. A lot of different things coming out from different sources saying that they're going to be in a bubble again. The season's going to be pushed back so far. This is going to affect everything. So I don't know. It's a whole crazy fluid situation, but college basketball is getting back underway. So at least there's some bright hope that, there's that. So there'll be future talent, right?
Yeah. If the NBA is smart, they're talking about starting the year on Christmas or right around Christmas, which is fine. Because I mean, you got the draft coming up November 18th, and you still got to do an off season. You still got to let guys take some time off and recoup, and then also you got free agency, how all that's going to work. So I think if they're smart, they start back in a bubble because we're still not through this yet, and we won't be until a vaccine is made and then mass produced. So I think they'd be smart to start in a bubble and then just see what happens. Maybe around the All-Star break, quote-unquote All-Star break, maybe you start easing back in, limited fans, depending on what the states are doing. But they have no reason to rush leaving a bubble. As bad as it is, for my opinion, as bad as it is for the game to not do that in front of fans and have players away from their families and stuff, it's for the best of the league, the health of the league, the health of the players. I'm still on the boat, wait and not have sports, but that's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, and there's a lot of ways this could go. A lot of states entering into their quote unquote phase 3s or whatever kind of plan they have in place. Things starting to open up more and more.
Unless you're California.
Unless you're California,
it's going backwards.
Sorry guys, we feel for you out there, but yeah, it's crazy to see how all this could possibly work out. I don't see the season. Maybe could start by Christmas, but I do feel like you're kind of giving your players a little bit of the short end of the stick. But I mean, who knows? We're looking at NHL probably not starting till February. Basketball could get pushed maybe back till even around that time, maybe a little bit before. But you still got the college basketball season supposed to start. So I don't know. There's a lot of variables right now. So at this point, though, the NBA, I'm sure, is hard at work with the Players Association to try and get things figured out. They did extend their CBA oh my goodness, I can't even English today. Their CBA meetings to be able to try and figure this out. Obviously, everybody's trying to do what they can in the best interest of the players and the league. So I'm sure they'll get something worked out, and we'll see something hopefully in the next month or so, if not sooner. So definitely make sure to check back with Final Score at PCN Final Score, and we'll definitely talk more about it once that is available. But something else we got to talk about real quick is Jacksonville Rugby Football Club and the Jacksonville Wolverines Youth Rugby. Great guys that we'd like to take the time to thank because they're great sponsors of Final Score. And the Jacksonville Rugby Football Club is a Division III team and a member of the Florida Rugby Union. You can find the Jacksonville Rugby Football Club on Facebook at facebook.com/JaxRFC. That's /JAXRFC. Excuse me, or on their website at jaxrugby.org. You can also find the Jacksonville Wolverines Youth Rugby team on Facebook at facebook.com/Jacksonville Youth Rugby. So definitely go check them out. Rugby, a growing sport here in America, so definitely make sure to check it out. But at this time, we got to switch gears on over to the MLB playoffs. We've had the ALCS and NLCS both going. Both are have reached Game 7 or are going to Game 7. So definitely been a very wild playoffs, man. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to start off first with one that has already wrapped up in the ALCS. If you guys did not catch the game last night, it was absolutely crazy to see the Tampa Bay Rays win Game 7 4-2 to claim their second ALCS title. It will face the NLCS champion in the World Series Game 1, which will take place this Tuesday at 8:10 on Fox. Man, absolutely crazy. I called last week that the Rays were going to sweep this whole thing 4-0, and the Rays started out looking that way, like they were going to be able to do it. And then the Astros got re-involved, obviously. But there's one thing that they were missing greatly. I feel like the Astros were, and I said it on Twitter. They're missing that garbage can, that thing that was letting everybody know what they were doing or what was coming, and was able to get them all these wins and titles. Oh, you didn't have that, and now the Rays ended up taking it and are going to the World Series, baby. Let's celebrate.
Popping champagne bottles in St. Pete, and I'm so happy the fact that St. Pete is going to see their average fan base at the World Series.
Oh, I know, absolutely.
Oh,
crazy.
Sorry, that's taking a shot at the fact that nobody cares about the Rays, unfortunately. But no, it's great. I actually feel bad for fans of. I mean, look at the Lightning winning championship this year. The Miami Heat were in the finals. The Rays are in the finals. It's a great year for Florida sports, but unfortunately, none of us can experience it. And that's the one thing about COVID that I'm really, really, really sad about, the fact that we can't experience this kind of stuff, because I can guarantee you that the crowds there would be electric.
Oh, yeah.
It'd just be so much fun. I remember the last time the Rays made the World Series, everyone gives them a hard time for their low average attendance during the season, but they show up for the playoffs. They show up for the playoffs. They show up for the World Series. It's such a transient town, and there's so many other things to do in Tampa than go watch baseball, when it's 110 degrees outside with 100% humidity, So it is a little, yeah, and the Trop is so bad for traffic. It's so bad for parking. It's bad to navigate around. It's rough all the way around to try to go see a game at Tropicana Field. So, but yeah, I mean, the Rays got off to a quick 3-0 series lead, but the Astros, even for all the scandals they've had, they're still a super talented team, and I'm not surprised they brought it back to Game 7 whatsoever. But props on the Rays. This seems like it is their year. A shortened season is a great thing for the Rays. Mm-hmm. That's just what their MO has been. They can do it in short spurts. So hopefully this carries over, and we've got that. You mentioned that great series in the NLCS, the Dodgers and the Braves. The Braves took a quick two-game lead, and then the Dodgers got mad, and they destroyed the Braves in Game 3. And the Braves got mad, did it the other way. It's just been a bunch of back and forth. So that game happens tonight at 8:15 on Fox. I know if I have a chance, I'm going to try to be watching that game. I got rid of my – I'm a bad sports fan. I got rid of my – while I was on hiatus, I got rid of my TV because I don't want to pay $80 a month for only watching sports.
Just stream it for free.
Right. If anyone's got any suggestions, I'm looking for it. So please let me know. Shout us out in the chat. Shout me in the ads. I don't really care. I'm just trying to find a way to watch my sports without having to shell out a ton of money. But the Dodgers and Braves, that's going to be a great game tonight. I really don't know who to pick here. I mean, I'm trying to look up the lines at the moment. Right now, the run line is Dodgers by 1.5. And the over-under set at 8. I'm not surprised it's the Dodgers because they've been kind of the favorite going in. It'll be interesting. I know the Dodgers are starting Gonsolin, who doesn't have any stats for the playoffs. Anderson's 2-0, 0 ERA, 11 innings pitched, 17 strikeouts, and 3 walks. So I think this is going to be a tight game. There's a few injuries on both sides, but yeah, I honestly don't know who to pick, so I'm not going to try to act smart and pick somebody. So I have no idea. I'm just going to be excited to watch the game.
Oh, look at you copping out. I have to make a pick because it's in my blood. I just have to, because this is a special moment. This is only the second NLCS Game 7 in the past 15 seasons. So this is a special moment that is going to be enjoyed by a special team that has worked hard and being able to capitalize just like the Rays did. And we're going to see the Atlanta Braves go to the World Series as NLCS champions and take down the Dodgers, so the Dodgers can go home and cry some more about how they got cheated or how something happened or blame something as to why they're not going to win the World Series again. No one cares. Braves are going to do it.
I feel like, man, I feel for the Dodgers fans though. How disappointing does it have to be such a talented team every single year and then be pushed to the brink and not have a single championship? It's similar to what the Tigers went through in the 2000s, where we had super talented teams, one of the best rotations in baseball. We even went out and paid a ton of money to go get hitters and then still couldn't get a single World Series ring. So I feel for the Dodgers fans. I know their level of talent on that team is a bit better than what the Tigers was, but still, you got to feel for the Dodgers fans. I know they cry about how they were cheated by the Astros back a few years ago. I get it. I understand. But, I mean, I'm with you. I think that the era of Cinderella runs this year being in bubbles is going to continue. I would not be surprised to see the Braves and the Rays in the World Series. And honestly, I think if that happens, might be one of the lowest watched World Series in recent memory.
Boo.
No, I'm just being serious. Like, if it's the Dodgers and the Yankees, if it's the Dodgers and the Yankees or the Dodgers and the Astros, the storylines there are insane. Because you've got if the Astros and Dodgers are in, it's the storyline about how the Dodgers want to get revenge and they want to get that. Like, I could see it now, but if it's the the Rays and the Braves, everyone's like, "Hey, Cinderella story." That's it. Like, that's all they're gonna say. Like, I mean, I love it.
I want to see new teams. I don't want to see. This isn't a day. Was it Days of Our Lives? This isn't a soap opera. These are a bunch of men running around yelling at each other.
I'm a man. I'm 40.
So, at the end of the day, we're just trying to play some baseball.
I'm with you. I love seeing the underdogs. I love seeing the new teams make the World Series. Love seeing new dynasties being made. But I'm talking about just from a marketing standpoint, the league wants the big names in. Just like college football wants your Notre Dames, your Michigans, your Ohio States, your Alabamas, your Georgias. They want them to be good because it sells tickets and it sells advertising dollars. And that's what the leagues care about.
That is true. That is very, very true. But definitely make sure to check Game 7 tonight, 8:15 on Fox. Game 7 of the NLCS. And then we'll see the World Series. It's going to kick off this upcoming Tuesday, man. It's going to be crazy. Definitely make sure to check back next week. The World Series is supposed to run from Tuesday through the following Wednesday, 7 games in 9 days, all taking place in Texas. So it's definitely going to be interesting, and definitely make sure to check with us next week, episode 78, as we will give you World Series updates. But you can also
before we move on, last thing. So Rays versus, you said Dodgers, or no, you said Braves.
Yes.
So Rays versus Braves, who are you taking in the World Series? Because by the time we have another show, we'll already be in the middle of the series, so we got to do it now.
Or possibly even over. All right, so we got to do it. So if I say Rays and Braves, I feel that series would probably end up going 6, possibly all 7 games. It's very tough to choose between the two, but honestly, I think I would have to take the Rays in this one. I think the Braves are just a little too young and not quite as far along. Crazy to say as the Rays. Rays have been able to put together a budget team that's able to win games. I'm going to have to take the Rays in 7.
I think I have to give 2 predictions because I'm on the fence, right? Like that, I backed myself into that corner. So I think no matter what, it's going to go 6 or 7 games. I think if it's Rays Dodgers, it goes to 6, and I think the Dodgers take it. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Rays win. And if it's Rays Braves, it goes to 7, and I take the Rays to win the World Series.
Oh, very nice, very nice.
So those are my 2. Those are my 2, depending on who wins the NLCS.
Yeah, Dodgers aren't winning the NLCS. If the Dodgers win the NLCS, they get swept by the Rays 4-0. So there you go.
Oh, how have those sweet predictions worked out for you in the past?
I mean, hey, the Rays eventually won. They swept the first 3 games. It was almost 4.
George chimed in and said, Isn't baseball already the least watched sport? Yes, it already is. And he says Dodgers in 7.
Ooh.
I'm assuming that means for the World Series.
That's what I'm assuming as well. So
I'm assuming that means for the World Series. So, and then Ulysses Martinez dropping in saying hi. What's going on, Ulysses? Thanks for dropping in and watching.
Yes.
We appreciate the support.
Yes, most definitely. Give us a like, give us a follow. Check us out at PCN Final Score. Thank you for dropping in, as well as checking out all of our content platforms. What more can you tell us about that, Craig?
Well, if you want to listen to more of Final Score, there's a couple different ways you can watch or listen. Audio versions of the podcast are on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, Stitcher, Podbean, and Google Podcasts. The video version of our podcasts are on YouTube. If you want to search any of those, all you have to do is search keyword Final Score. That's one word, Final Score, on any of those platforms, and you can find all of our past episodes, interviews, and if you check us out on Twitch, you can see some of our old streams for the game team as well. So check those all out. PCN Final Score on all audio and video platforms. Wherever you listen to podcasts, we're there.
Absolutely. At this point, though, we're going to go ahead and shift gears on over to what was a crazy week in college football. George wanted me to say, what the hell happened? Because at the end of the day, we saw, again, upsets galore. As you're seeing across the ticker, if you've not been watching the whole show, shame on you. We update this ticker regularly. But all the scores of those games, those are real. Those really, really happened because we saw Clemson go out and absolutely smack around Georgia Tech in one of literally the most lopsided game in ACC play history. Absolutely insane to see what happened. We saw Louisiana, number 21 Louisiana, get upset. We saw, of course, we can't forget North Carolina dropping to FSU. Absolute insanity that happened. And don't forget, FSU lost to Notre Dame last week. So crazy to see what was happening. Man, what are your thoughts on everything? It's just yet another wild week of college football.
Again, you can't see it, but I got my tinfoil hat on, everybody. It's one of the largest tinfoil hats you'll ever see. The storyline for this week is the fact that we had 5 college football games postponed due to COVID. This cannot go ignored, but Nick Saban, we reported earlier this week, he was tested positive for COVID, but then magically on Friday or Saturday, it said that it was a false positive. He can still roam the sidelines and coach against number 3 Georgia. You really think that was true? I think it's a crock of garbage. So I almost did it. But I'm not going to do it. I think it's a load of BS. I think the fact that these colleges are understanding, and college football is understanding now, just like the major leagues. You need your big-time players. You need the big-time coaches in the spotlight. So if they do test positive for COVID, brush it under the rug, say it was a false positive, we move on with our lives and go on our merry way. But the fact that we did lose one of the biggest matchups of the weekend does hurt.
Yes.
Number 4 Florida and number 17 LSU, even though they're below 500, which is kind of interesting. But the second big storyline I want to look at for college football is the fact that the ranking system is completely whack right now. How can you have a top 25 ranking when you don't have all of your conferences reporting and playing games? That's where you get teams like number 8 North Carolina. Get out of here. They're 3-0. They've played nobody. They lost on the road to Florida State.
They were number 5
garbage.
when they lost.
Yeah, number 5, they're garbage. Get out of here. There's nothing right about that. Tennessee, number 14, after they lost and got their asses kicked by Kentucky, they don't deserve that ranking either. Never would have happened if all conferences were playing. There's a lot of these rankings. Miami, I'm sorry. I know, George, you and your family, big Miami fans. They do not deserve to be number 7. If there was a full conference of all conferences reporting, they would not be that high. I'm sorry, man. I'm excited to be back. I'm on fire right now.
Yeah, you are.
I'm heated up about all this stuff. I've been 2 months of pent up sports talk that I haven't been able to get out. It's been rough, man. It's been rough.
I can imagine.
But yeah,
man.
there still was some great games. I am a little. What's the game I was looking for? I was looking for another game that I was going to talk about. But anyway, we got the Big Ten coming back this week, which is awesome. So that's going to be exciting for coming up. Oh, and the how the mighty in the state of Florida have fallen.
The mighty.
I know we got some fans that are big UCF supporters, but you've been brought back down to earth. Hopefully, now dropping to 2-2 on the year. Memphis is a good team. Don't get upset. Memphis has been a good team for the last 5 years in your conference. Yeah, I know Gabriel had a stellar game, 600 yards, 5 touchdowns, no picks. I get it. But so did Memphis's quarterback, 486 yards and 6 touchdowns, no picks. That's Heupel's fault. Everybody knew when Heupel came in, he's not Scott Frost, okay? You knew there was going to be some drop-off. You still had these massive expectations. You're going to compete for the college football playoff every year. Take that garbage. Get it out of here. Just be okay with being the top of the Power of 5 right now. Like, it just deal with it. Just be okay with it.
Man, you're hyped right now. Just going off.
Woo! We're back, baby.
Oh man, crazy. But yeah, it's UCF. I'm sorry. Welcome to the normies, man. You guys had to expect this after Scott Frost left, but look at how much was offensive production there was in that game. Ended up combining for 99 points. There was no such thing as defense. Quarterbacks just torching everything. It was crazy to watch. I actually got to catch the end of that game, and there was some bad play calling. Bad defense, and it's just not like UCF to allow 50 points. Like, that's just crazy. But maybe this is where UCF finally discovers that they are a normal team, and that this isn't, the old Scott Frost days where you can go undefeated and be able to knock off teams like Auburn. Like, you're not going to do that. So it's just crazy. But this whole year has been crazy. We see Alabama. Of course, we talked about Nick Saban and COVID. Did reveal also he had COVID back in July. So a lot of people are saying, oh, maybe that's why he had some issues, which I don't say that ties in. I think it's tinfoil stuff, but whatever. But still, number 2, Alabama takes down Georgia 41-24 after Georgia was up 24-20 at halftime. It couldn't score a single point in the second half. But Alabama has found a quarterback in Mac Jones who went 24-32, 417 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Dude, absolutely killing it for Bama. So really crazy to see. But let's not forget Najee Harris. He had 152 yards on the ground too. I've been trying to avoid talking about my team, but now that I've landed on them, it's hard to ignore. Yes, Notre Dame did win 12-7 against Louisville, but hey. You're allowed one scare, right? One? Just one?
Just one? You haven't had any more than that this year?
No, Duke wasn't a scare. That was just a mild rash. Like, it itched, but it wasn't that bad. Oh, my gosh. But no, it's been crazy to see everything that happened. Like you said, Auburn even got upset, too, by South Carolina. It's been just such a wacky year in college football where there's been upsets every single week. And I did say it last week, though, that Florida State did find their quarterback in oh my gosh, what is the kid's name? I can't even remember right now. Something Smith. Just shows you how wacky this year has been. But Jordan Travis, there it is. Went 8 of 19, 191 yards and a touchdown and a pick, but had 107 rushing and 2 touchdowns. Dude just making it happen. And I saw him last week against Notre Dame, and I think it was the only reason that they hung in with Notre Dame in any kind of way, and it was only a 16-point win by the Irish. But it was because of Jordan Travis. This dude is a stud, and just watch out. I don't think this game was a fluke. I do think North Carolina is a better team than people are giving them credit for. Mac Brown's done a great job there trying to turn that program around after all of the NCAA sanctions and all the issues that they were having. Were they worthy of a number 5 ranking? Definitely not, but definitely a team that is on the uptrend and is a good team that just got beat by Florida State. So definitely, I think FSU fans do have a lot to look forward to in the future for that program. Just let's pump the brakes, though. It's just one game, okay? So we'll definitely see what happens. It's been absolutely crazy this year.
Yeah, it is nice to see college football back, but I'm going to be excited to see the Big Ten coming back next week. I know the Pac-12 is trying to – they got a slate ready to go, but they're only going to play like 6 or 7 games, so it doesn't even really make sense to them come back. It's just it's all crazy right now.
Yeah.
I'm just hoping that we get through this college football season with as few postponed games as possible and everybody's healthy. The student athletes are really the people that we got to be worrying about here.
Yeah.
I mean, they get their scholarships, but they have no income to fall back on. They get hospitalized. There's no bills or anything.
Yeah.
Like they have to pay that. Their families do. So, I mean, it's just a rough spot to put these kids in. So I'm hoping that we can get through the rest of the season as unscathed as we possibly can.
Absolutely. I was going to say these kids don't get paid enough to put up with this crap. So,
Right.
You know what I mean? But We got to shift gears now. We're going to talk a little bit about Podcast City Network, Final Score. We're so happy to be a part of, and we're a proud member, which you can find us at podcastcity.net/Final Score. But Podcast City Network is your home for up and coming independent podcasts, and you can find them on social media at facebook.com/Podcast City Network, on Twitter and on Instagram now at Podcast City Net. And of course, you can find them on YouTube by searching keyword Podcast City Network, and on our website, podcastcity.net. And you can also join Podcast City Network if you have a new or existing podcast, because they offer an array of membership services, including logo design and branding, social media advertising, live podcast hosting, and much, much more. You also gain access to our network of shows to help with cross promotion, guests, and overall reach, while also becoming a part of our ever-expanding PCN community based on people helping people. And the best part is, no membership fee. So what are you waiting for? Go to podcastcity.net/join now and join the fastest growing independent podcast network around, Podcast City Network. And now we're going to shift gears on over to Give or Go, and we got some topics to talk about today. And I'm going to throw the first one at you, Craig. Denver Broncos running back Melvin Gordon was cited for a DUI this past Tuesday night. Give or go?
Give slightly, just because of the fact that this is what happens when you postpone games and practices due to COVID. Guys have multiple days off with nothing to do. But the police records showed for Melvin Gordon in downtown Denver, he was ticketed for speeding as well as being under the influence between 25 and 39 miles an hour over the speed limit. He's got a court date November 13th, but he could be suspended by the league pending further investigation. But remember, also last year, Broncos safety Kareem Jackson was suspended for the final 2 games of 2019 after a DUI arrest last year, also in downtown Denver. So if I'm not mistaken, this is not the first time Melvin Gordon's had similar issues. I don't remember when. I know it was sometime a few years ago, but that sticks out in my head. But yeah, there's a potential that they could be without Melvin Gordon for a couple weeks. I wouldn't be surprised if they suspend him for at least 1 game after this.
Oh, absolutely. You got to do something, just because this is a very bad look, not only for Melvin Gordon, for the Denver Broncos, but for the league as well. So definitely, I think we're going to see some kind of repercussions coming out of this, because there's no way you can really explain why you got a DUI and we're speeding that fast. So I don't know. We'll definitely see how that one works out.
Moving on to the next one, running back Le'Veon Bell, who was with the Jets, so we mentioned that he was released earlier this week, has chosen a team and decides to sign a 1-year deal with the already loaded Kansas City Chiefs. Give or go?
I'm going to give on this briefly, because I don't like to give Le'Veon Bell my time anymore. But at the end of the day, he did sign this 1-year deal. It's worth, I think, the base salary of just around $1 million, with almost another $1 million in incentives and playoff bonuses and stuff like that. It is a prorated contract, though, which means that while the amount is for the year, he's only, I believe, getting $690,000 because of the prorated amount for the 5 games that have already taken place. But this doesn't make sense to me, because I feel like the Chiefs already have something very well going, having Clyde Edwards-Helaire in the backfield. You still do have, even though Damien Williams has sat out for this season, you had the other Williams who is still available as well, and was a nice change of pace every now and then. So I feel like they had something already good in the backfield. I don't see Le'Veon getting a start whatsoever. I don't even see him getting a 50-50 split of the carries. I don't even know why Kansas City did this to begin with. It would have made more sense if Le'Veon would have went to Miami, which is where I had projected him to land. But, this is what we ended up with. So hopefully Le'Veon Bell doesn't become too much of a distraction or a cancer in that locker room. However, I feel like with how strong Kansas City is, maybe this could help set Le'Veon back straight to be able to actually get on with a team in a starting role next year. So I don't know, a lot of different ways that this could go, but I'm not sure, man. What do you think?
I think from the Kansas City Chiefs perspective, why not sign him? He's a supremely talented running back when he's healthy and gets in a rhythm. But yeah, you have Clyde Edwards-Helaire, you have Damian Williams. It's still, I could see them signing it. It didn't make sense for Le'Veon Bell because you're in a loaded backfield, but I think it's part of the reason why he signed there. It's a loaded team. He can move around. You've seen him play receiver in Pittsburgh a little bit here and there. So that's the one thing about Andy Reid, is he's going to find ways to get him the ball in some way, shape, or form. So I think he's finally dedicated to winning a championship. Maybe, I don't know. But if
Maybe.
he really wanted to go full petty, full amount of pettiness, full petty mode, he should have gone to Buffalo, honestly.
Oh, man.
And you're like, why Buffalo? Because Buffalo not only plays Pittsburgh this year, but they also play the Jets yet again. So he would have double dipped there and played both teams on a winning team with a good offense who needs running back help.
That is
so
true.
it would have made sense. But it doesn't. I get it for the Chiefs' perspective. It's like in basketball when you just load up on stars. Like, why not? If you're gonna do it for a year, why not load up? It only ensures your chances that you're going to be successful.
That is true. And that is definitely something to look at, but we'll definitely see how this will work out in the coming weeks. He's not eligible to play this weekend, but is expected to play next week. So we'll definitely hopefully see his debut come then. Our next Give or Go topic, though, Ty Lue has agreed to a 5-year deal to coach the LA Clippers. Give or go.
This is a big deal for the LA Clippers. I mean, you let go of Doc Rivers because of his ineptitude to advance you further in the playoffs. But it's a big deal because Ty Lue is coming into a situation where you've got a pretty star-studded team that is expecting success, and the only time he's had success in Cleveland was when LeBron was there. If you take him out of the equation, Ty Lue did not do well as a coach. So
No, he didn't.
I'm really intrigued to see how this plays out. I think the bigger news here is the fact that will Ty Lue be able to – yeah, he's had championship pedigree and playoff success, but it was with LeBron James in his corner, and we've seen with coaches in the past, any coach can be successful if you have LeBron James on your team. So I'll be intrigued. It's a 5-year deal. Best of luck to him. It's going to be a lot of pressure because you're in the same city as the Lakers. You had all these expectations. They fell flat on their face and kind of choked in the playoffs. So I'll be intrigued to see how that plays out.
Yeah, we'll definitely see how it plays out. The big thing, though, that I see for Ty Lue is that you are taking over a Clippers team that still has Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. So it's not like he doesn't have good players on this team. I feel maybe Doc Rivers was just at the point, especially for how long he's been coaching, that maybe it just wasn't the right fit anymore given what he had to work with. Maybe Ty Lue can work something better with it. Who knows? Because Ty Lue did win a championship, even though it was with LeBron James. It showed he can win with good players. So maybe he can pull something together and they can try and figure something out. I still don't think, though, the Clippers are going to be able to overtake the Lakers. We got to be specific right now, and be able to be the Kings of LA. So I think it's still a good hire by the Clippers. I think the Clippers will definitely be competitive in the West, and I think he definitely will be able to do a little bit better than what Doc Rivers has had as a run over the past 7 years there. But, I mean, all time tells. We got to see how the NBA season's even going to look. So who knows? We'll see when we actually get there. But our last Give or Go topic, the NCAA has granted an extra year of eligibility for all winter sport athletes and officially has avoided the 500 rule for bowl teams. Give or go.
Bravo to the NCAA for actually doing something right for once.
Yes.
Granting all winter athletes an extra year of eligibility is fantastic. This has been a crazy year with the coronavirus pandemic, and it's affected everyone. Congrats to the NCAA for making one smart decision, but then they followed it up with a stupid one, and that's
you gotta balance it
the
out.
500. Yeah, we got to balance it out. They can't do everything right. They have to, throw in some. We got to
make some
screw up
stupid.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah, got to make some stupid decisions. Voiding the 500 rule for bowl teams, I figured this was going to happen anyway because they did this on purpose. Because you're going to have teams that, like the Pac-12 and the Big Ten, who are going to have top-profile teams that may not be doing well. So you're going to see probably, like, if USC struggles, they're still going to go to a bowl game. Other teams in the Pac-12, like Washington – teams like that, that's what they're opening the door for. But they also have all these bowl games to fill, and they can't use the 500 rule if someone is 2-3 or 3-4. Like, they can't. So it makes sense for them because it's a huge cash cow. But the bowl system, for the most part, it's got a major overhaul needed anyway. But I'm not a huge fan of this, but I understand why they did it.
Well, we know that at the end of the day, the reason they have so many bowl games is because of money, and you have to be able to have teams that you can actually fill these bowl games with. And if you end up having that 500 rule, especially with the fact that there are certain leagues that are just waiting until spring, obviously those teams are not going to be in bowl games. They're not going to be in championship games. So you look at the fact that you're just flat out not going to have enough teams. You know, the 129 teams that are considered FBS schools, well, a good number of those are not playing, and it's you're going to end up also with teams that say games get canceled, games get delayed. Notre Dame already had to postpone their game against Wake Forest. We've already seen Virginia Tech be affected. You know, we're already seeing a lot of things that are happening. Pac-12 playing 6-7 game schedules, so it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be interesting for sure. But I feel like this was a move they had to make just to be able to fill those slots. And it just goes to show that the NCAA at the end of the day really only cares about the money. So, but still, the extra year of eligibility, though, I think was good. That doesn't do too much to hurt the NCAA. So I'm not too surprised they did that, given things are still ongoing. We may even see eventually that be extended to spring athletes as well. But still, good thing that they did it.
Yeah, and just also a minor note to add here too. This we got this story from the ESPN.com article, but they also touch on the name, image, and likeness front a little bit in this same article. Council members have debated a proposal from the working group as they're trying to work through it. But there's also now talking about that federal and state lawmakers might have a say in how much the NCAA is allowed to restrict the future earnings of earning power of college athletes. So that's a potentially big thing here too, because you got states like California and Florida that says they're allowed to make, and the NCAA is obviously going to try to cap it as much as they can. But that's big for the state and federal lawmakers to potentially overrule the NCAA.
Yeah, absolutely. And that would be very unprecedented and definitely would give power back where it needs to be, I feel like, to a certain extent. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out. But definitely make sure to check back with us here at Final Score, at PCN Final Score on social media. And we'll definitely keep you guys updated as more news breaks, because this will be a far-reaching and impactful legislation if it were to pass on a federal level for college athletics. So, man, we'll definitely see. But you know where else you can see Final Score? Where can they find Final Score, Craig?
You can find Final Score also on PodChaser. PodChaser is relatively new to the world of podcasting, but it has been so impactful. It's your daily source for podcast discovery. Podcast on Apple Music and Apple Podcasts is no longer the only credible place that you can rate and review podcasts. On PodChaser, you can follow creators, you can browse every podcast ever, and rate and review individual episodes. We are also on PodChaser. You can go to podchaser.com, search keyword Final Score, one word, Final Score, and give us a follow, give us a rating, and give us a review. And also check out the other awesome things that PodChaser has going on at their website.
Absolutely. Definitely make sure to check us out there. And now that brings us to the week ahead, and definitely some stuff that's going to be going on. First off, we have Double Dime, who have episode 10 live tomorrow night at 5:30 on Twitter and Periscope. All you have to do is go onto their Twitter or Periscope and search at Fixed Edge, and you can find them there. A lot of great guys. Been doing a lot of work with them. Very happy to see them reach episode 10. Definitely a nice little milestone for them.
Yeah, new show to the Podcast City Network family. If you are a fan of sports betting or interested in following along and getting some tips and advice, check those guys out. They have some great info. They're always posting both the wins and the losses. They show you both sides of it. So they don't just show you the winnings and hype it up and say, do this. They show you everything. So check them out, Double Dime. It's at Fixed Edge on Twitter, and they're live on Twitter and Periscope there. Another thing, looking forward, it's still a couple weeks away, but we are hosting Draft Day and a Halloween party at our sponsor, City Limits Tap Room in DeLand, Florida. It's on October 30th, Friday night, starting at 7 p.m. There's going to be karaoke. The Draft Day show starts at 9, and a costume contest at midnight. $500 in cash prizes from Steel Fox Firearms. So if you are in the area local to Orlando, Daytona, DeLand, hell, even if you come from the sticks, Ocala, Jacksonville, wherever, come hang out. You can come hang out with us, the guys from Final Score. We're going to be taste testing some beers. We're going to have Derek, the beer guy, joining us as well. It's going to be a lot of fun. So we're going to be dressed up. We're going to be ready to show out. It's going to be a hell of a lot of fun. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, they're going to be a hell of a lot of fun. You know how to get in there at least once, but definitely
DJ Chris Carnage in the house.
Yeah, that's right. CC in the house, yeah. But yeah, it's going to be a great party over there at City Limits Tap Room. Definitely make sure to come out. It's going to be a great event. A lot of stuff going on. Sadly, though, what else we got going on? Episode 78 of Final Score is going to be next Sunday, 10 a.m. on Facebook Live. Definitely make sure to check us out. But that does bring us to the end of our episode. Thank you guys so much for joining us. And thank you, Craig. We welcome you back. So happy to have you back. But until next time. Oh, you got something else?
I'm just so excited to be back. Thank you so much, everybody, for supporting the show. Hopefully I won't break the camera again next week.
Yeah, don't do that.
And we can actually see my set here, making some improvements. So I'm excited. Every Sunday, 10 a.m. on Facebook Live. Check us out at PCN Final Score.
Yeah, we're gonna get your beautiful mug back on here at some point. Just too beautiful, and you broke the camera. What'd you do? Gosh. But thank you so much for coming back, man.
I was all dressed up in my Lions gear today to watch the Lions lose to Jacksonville. I'm ready to go.
I mean, hey, at least you put yours on. I couldn't, man. I already know how today's gonna go. Celebrate that Irish win. So, but definitely make sure to follow us on social media at PCN Final Score. But until next week, I'm Chris, and that's Craig, and you guys just watch Final Score. Y'all have a great night.